Boy, oh boy, it's about to get 11 up in this motherfucker for the WWE, for all of wrestling right now. I mean, it's about to get crazy. Hello, boys and girls. You're now listening and watching Peter Talks Smackdown. Not Raw Recap, not Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, but Peter Talks Smackdown. It's episode 36. I repeat, episode 36 of Peter Talks Smackdown. Now, I say it's about to get 11 up in this motherfucker because we about to turn up to 11 because the entire landscape of the WWE is about to change. It's shifting. It has to shift. It's about to get real entertaining. And I say this because of the following: injuries, sabbaticals, all that shit. Now you take the cream of the crop of the WWE, like not necessarily the best, but we're talking about the guys on top. They're all not on TV right now. They're all gone from injury or sabbatical. First and foremost, John Cena. This is his, I think he has 4 more weeks of just being the fuck away. You know, and we're looking at that as like, oh, well, you know, it's time for people to step up. And then we get the injury to Randy Orton, and he's going to be out for a while. Kane is not on TV right now. Undertaker's not on TV right now. The Big Show is not on TV right now. And if you're talking about all the guys that have been in the main events over the past couple of months, those are the guys. But there's even one more in particular. He goes by the name of Seth Rollins. Now, I didn't freak out and make a video as soon as I got the news from the actual WWE app. But from the WWE app, I was like, oh shit. It's reported that he's gone for months. He's going to be gone for months because I think he tore his MCL and he needs reconstruction. Not reconstruction, where he's going to have to cut that fucker open. And reconstruction on his knee. You know, MCLs are not, they're not to be taken lightly, but they're not really that big deal. Say if you're in professional sports, say if you're football, you're going to be out for a while. Basketball, you can come back after a couple of months. But if you're wrestling, you can't be performing with that shit. Achilles, tear, ACL, MCL, you can't perform with that shit. You got to go in, get cut open, and have that fucker heal up. And I'd be surprised if it'll be a year by the time that he's like 100%. Daniel Bryan's out. There's a whole bunch of fucking people out. And Seth Rollins, not only is he out for months, they had to strip the title from him. So right now they're about to have a Survivor Series. At Survivor Series, they're gonna have like a tournament or a battle royal or something for to crown the new heavyweight champion. All arrows are pointing to Roman Reigns, but there has to be right now a dark horse. There's going to be a dark horse in this equation, because it's one thing to just go ahead and slap the belt onto Roman Reigns. We all see it coming. You know, I think WWE is in a position where they don't want to make it so obvious. And sometimes they just give it to you. You know, John Cena victories and shit like that, and Roman Reigns victories. But it seems they might just throw us a curveball. I have no speculation. You know, the top 4, I would say 4, that could actually take that belt, right, is Ambrose, Cesaro, Ziggler, and Sheamus. Those are the top 4 guys that I see actually have a chance of getting the belt. I think everyone wants, if anything, all these guys need pushes. And I didn't put in Kevin Owens as Intercontinental Champ because he's Intercontinental Champ. He needs to hold on to that for a while. I didn't say Del Rio because he needs to hold on to that U.S. belt for a while. Those two belts need to be held on for a while. But the guys without belts, oh shit, there's a fifth, Ryback. These 5 guys have to show and fucking prove to get that belt and to get that push. And on top of that, being that everyone's out either sabbatical injury or rest, it is time to step up. It is time. If there's ever been a time before, it is right fucking now. And you're about to see a lot of guys go out of their fucking way to be that next guy to step up, to move up a notch on the old totem pole. And tonight, well, not tonight, but Thursday night SmackDown was an extension of this theory, right? Because we're all wanting new stars. We all need people to move up get out of that mid-card hell. We got to get out of that mid-card hell. And wrestling is about to be fun. Now, I don't know whether it's because of after the Hell in a Cell that the writers, got a new take on life right now, a new take on writing, or maybe this tabula rasa, just moving forward, just a clean slate, just to do all of these storylines is actually cool, because we've all been bitching for the past couple of weeks, especially the build to Hell in a Cell. We've all been bitching and moaning and complaining, and for good fucking reason, because it sucked. A lot of it was so fucking horrible. I mean, just an insult to us as wrestling fans. It was a smack in the face. But man, since the day after Hell in a Cell, things have been looking real cool. New storylines, new foes, new feuds, new everything. And so far so good. And I would say over the year, since 2015, leading up to any pay-per-view, this one has to be the best build to a pay-per-view that they actually thought about getting rid of, Survivor Series. So we'll see what happens. But let's talk about this SmackDown. And it's in Colorado Springs, right? And it kicks off, actually, the last couple of weeks, they've been doing a whole bunch of things before the music starts. But this is all right, whatever. It goes straight into this shit. And actually, it looks like a brand new opening, too. It looks like they kind of, they refreshed the SmackDown intro. They added new people onto the opener as well. But yeah, it starts off with Del Rio and Zeb Coulter, which is a very interesting. It's getting more interesting now because it's confusing. I mean, it's still confusing, but it's getting interesting. On Monday, we got the confrontation with Zeb and Jack Swagger. The first time in a while that it looks like there's tension between Del Rio and Swagger as well. This Mex America thing. I mean, it seems like a really cool idea. The storyline itself. Zeb is getting rid of his bigoted ways. He wants to unite with Mexico. He has Del Rio as his ambassador. It seems like really cool. Let's take down these lines. Let's tear down these walls. Stop with this racism, this bigotry. Why do we have to be apart? And, what you think about is you know what? You're like the ultimate baby face. This is what actually you're making sense. Yeah, we should all get along. And Del Rio is yeah, Mex America. This is a great union. And you go, yeah, this is awesome. Especially with today, where all these lines are being drawn between immigrants in America, blacks and whites, cops and civilians. It's hey, we need someone to say, hey, let's come together, folks. But it's coming off as very heelish. I don't know how the fuck that happens. It's one thing to be straight edge and holier than thou. It's one thing to be, what's the word? Kurt Angle, the all-American schoolboy, just drinking milk and eat your vitamins kind of guy, and like that, like get out of here, you cookie cutter fuck. But this is just interesting when you got someone trying to promote unity, and it's basically a heel move. So we'll see how this turns out. And Del Rio is looking like $1 million. He really is. Like, this is, since he's been back, we just kind of seeing what's going on, how he's going to perform, and the people he's been in the ring with. But he's telling a story right now about himself and about his return. And as the U.S. champion, it's starting to look real good, especially with this match tonight. So, on SmackDown. So they come out and they start questioning the fans about, the doubt of the combination between Del Rio and Zeb Coulter. And he's like, no, dude, like, why y'all questioning this? This is actually like a real thing. We're all about this shit. We're about together, tearing down the walls and being a nation of, Mex America. And that we ain't got time for the haters. We got no time for hate. And no haters are not allowed in our nation of Mex America. And that leads into the match. And it's against Neville. And it was such a good match. All these matches were awesome. Not a single match. Even Tamina did all right, man. Like, this is how crazy shit is. And everyone's stepping up their fucking game. But Del Rio versus Neville, it's a great match. Even though that Neville lost, it still was a good match. But here's some shit that went down. There was a standing moonsault, by Neville. ADR is just brutalizing the living shit out of Neville. There's this one Hurricanrana where we called it a spike Karana, but it looked like Concussion City. He just came down, and it happened twice, which is crazy. It happened later on with the Lucha Dragons, but this looked pretty fucking dangerous. It's one thing to have the Hurricanrana and have it roll up, but there was no roll up. It was a straight head to the fucking mat. And I thought that was going to be it, or a straight shoot of Del Rio being knocked out or concussed. But he kicked out, and which results into his new finisher, out of the Tree of Woe, where the opponent is sort of dangling from the buckle, legs are caught. He does that stomp. He does that fucking stomp, and he got the victory over Neville. Neville, again, great match from Neville. Those two go together, really well. I hope to see something like this later on once they build Neville up to be a contender for something, for a belt, or push to the sort of upper mid card. And after the victory, he goes back in to pick the bones, where he actually breaks out the arm breaker. Now, we haven't seen the arm breaker since he's been back, and he hasn't won a match yet with an arm breaker. But he whipped it out while picking the bones. He hit him with a kick that beat Cena. I guess we'll call it that. The kick that beat Cena, and then he put him in that fucking arm breaker. And Jack Swagger comes out, and we get our feud. They get a stare down in the ring, and boom, right there, we got our feud. It thus begins the Jack Swagger Del Rio feud. Jack Swagger, the All-American, versus Mex America, and Del Rio and Zeb. We get the Usos versus the Ascension, and this is the first time they returned on Monday for the Wyatt sort of face of it wasn't face of fear, but it was definitely, what the fuck was that? I think it was the Wyatts versus a 4-man Survivor Series. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. It was the return. And it sucks that their return had to go down where they get pinned. So they come back. This is their first actual tag team match. The Jobber Ascensions is in the ring without Stardust. It'd been awesome to have him out on the ring side as the valet manager or whatever, but he wasn't there. And they jobbed out to the Usos. The Usos definitely got ring rust, but it's fun to see them back. Where we start their feud, who they start their feud with is up in the air. I guess they're going to be going after the tag team belts again very soon, but I would hate for that to start right now. I think the New Day needs to, go, be as far away from the Usos as possible. The Usos need to beat a lot of, at least give them 3 or 4 matches against other tag teams to sort of claim their spot as the number 1 contenders for the belt. And that's basically how I feel. It sucks that they got eliminated in the debut, but this was their first match back as a tag team. They beat the Ascension. And once you think about it, something I was thinking, I was like, the Usos are great, but they do need a manager. They need a manager bad. If they could find a babyface manager somehow, some way, and have them as a mouthpiece for them, that would be awesome. I mean, they're not going to turn heel anytime soon. It would be perfect if they were heel and had a mouthpiece. But as even baby faces, I think they can make it happen. They can make it work with a manager as a babyface. We get the Wyatt family versus the Primetime Players and the Lucha Dragons in a Survivor Series 4-on-4 Survivor Series elimination style tag team match. And again, it's like they're building the Wyatts to make them look real strong. And this is definitely a case of that. And this match was great. I mean, if you don't watch SmackDown, you just listen to this, go back and watch that match. I mean, it was really great. Everyone stepped up. Everybody stepped up. I think the crowd could have been a little more behind. Even with the canned heat, you couldn't really get the fact. You couldn't catch that the crowd was ultimately behind Titus O'Neil. And that was something I was like, I was sitting there watching like, come on, Titus. Come on, crowd. Like, get behind Titus. He's in a position to get behind and to see if he's star quality. I mean, visually he is. He still can get better. He has room for improvement in the ring. But, man, just as him, like, come on. Like, I think they kind of missed out on that. We could have seen him propel. We could have seen him ascend. And maybe he's going to get more chances. But this was definitely a position to put him in to see if the crowd was going to get behind him. 4-on-1, man, it kind of fell flat, and it sucks. But definitely, here's how it went down. Darren Young is eliminated by Strowman via count out because he strangled him outside the ring and he fell and he got counted out. Sin Cara that comes out like a fucking fireball, man. Just a fucking fireball. I don't know what it is about Sin Cara and just the Lucha Dragons in general. Those guys have been turning it the fuck up. And it's super impressive. But Sin Cara, he gets eliminated by Harper clothesline from hell. Kalisto, who comes in and kills it too, he gets eliminated by full Nelson slam by Eric Rowan, who actually does pretty well in this match too. And they're down to 4 against 1 so far as a clean sweep, and you got Titus O'Neil, the babyface, the big guy, and he has to sort of defend himself against 4 guys. And I'm, again, not to bring it up again to beat it with a dead horse, but I wish the crowd was more behind him. I mean, this was an opportunity to just get the crowd heat, but it didn't come, and it sucked. It sucked that heat didn't come like it should have. Well, anyway, there's a part where Titus drops Rowan with the Clash of the Titans, and then to get eliminated, and then they all just came in and beat the living shit out of him. I think he was able to get off one little bit of offense, but it led to a strangulation by Strowman, the Strowman strangle, and which led to a Sister Abigail by Bray Wyatt. So every single guy from the Wyatt family got a pin, and it was a clean sweep. Again, that more than the clean sweep to make them look strong, I still feel like it was an opportunity to get that heat for Titus O'Neil, and maybe it was just the wrong city. I hope he gets another chance. Get Dean Ambrose in the back with Young. Owens comes and then fucking interrupts, and they get to stare down, and they face that night. So we see what happens. Team Bad. Oh shit, my bad. You get Barrett versus Ryback. Again, another guy who needs to ascend with all this absence. I mean, that feud with Owens was a bit of a joke, and he didn't need to be in that feud with Owens. It was just a bad look. So let's just pretend that didn't happen and focus on him actually ascending to be a contender for the belt. Something I've been talking about for a while. I mean, I'll even listen to his podcast conversation with Stone Cold. If you haven't listened to that yet, go check it out. I mean, it's a really good one. The guy is motivated. The guy has a vision. He can get there. And with this Ryback we got right now, this sort of like kick ass, take name, not taking names kind of bullshit that's going on right now. Feed me more, real aggressive. This is the means for him to ascend. Well, anyway, he's in the ring with King Barrett, and he wins with an excellent counter to a sleeper hold. I mean, just an excellent like chin lock sleeper hold. He has him on his back. He stands up and he flips his ass onto his shoulders for the shell shock. And it was something that was interesting. And I'm just like, yeah, Ryback. That's what I'm talking about. It's moments like this that help you move up now with the absence of all of those injuries and all those, rest and sabbaticals. Ryback, I'm behind you, bro. I'm behind you, Ryback. I'm behind you, Titus O'Neil. Everyone, I'm fighting for everyone to move up, man. Just to move up, especially at least to take the Big Show spot or the Kane spot. And Rollins, being as young as he is, get someone else that's young in that spot. Not in that spot, but near it, sniffing it, definitely. And yeah, Ryback is worth checking out. Go check out the match. Team Bad in the back with Young and Natty. It's reported that Natty has called out Team Bad on Facebook to I want to face the leader of Team Bad, and it was a means to sort of pick at Team Bad and try to get some dissension between the group, and they kind of played on that in the actual backstage interview, and they look like they're talking about how their unity, as a team, that's not gonna like draw us off, but definitely you see that the communication between the two of them is stressing that one of them is the leader. They get down to the ring, and it looks like more dissension between Naomi and Sasha Banks of who the leader is. They get, they walk up. They both walk on the apron. They both are like bitching at each other, like, "Yo, like what the fuck?" Basically trying to call out who the leader is, who isn't the leader. And then Tamina steps up, and she accepts the challenge. And it was all a ruse to make it seem like, Natty made an impact on seeing who the leader is and try to get that sort of heat between Naomi and Sasha, but it didn't work. They actually pulled off a really good ruse on Natty. But at some point, it is going to wear thin, and we're going to get the feud between Team Bad. But I hope they stick around for a while. Fuck it. PCB's gone. The Bellas. Oh, yeah. I think Nikki Bella had an injury as well. So let's keep Team Bad together. Have them as a force. Let them run shot on the Divas division, and have Naomi and Sasha Banks as at some point you're going to see that faction is only made, it's not enough room for the both of us to take that top spot, but we'll see down the line. But we get fucking Tamina versus Daddy. And Tamina's been stinking up the ring as of late. Just stinking it up. But maybe she's a little bit healed up. She's less scared in the ring. And it came through in this match. She was like bullying, basically brooding Natty around. And it got to the end. And, Sasha Banks and Naomi out there making their money too. Trying to distract, trying to do all this stuff. And which led to Tamina getting the upper hand, got a nice little super kick in, and she tried to do the snooker splash. And Natty got the leg up and the roll-up victory over Tamina. and got the hell out of there. So possibly this is what's going to happen. I'd imagine Naomi's going to be face her next. And then I guess we're going to be waiting for the Sasha Banks Natty match. And that probably happened at Survivor Series. And then we get to the main event, which is Dean Ambrose versus Kevin Owens. And it's back and forth. Again, one of my problems with, say, the both of them is that, like, well, Kevin Owens himself should get more heat. He should beat down guys more to build up the babyface, get the heat on the babyface. But you can't do that with Dean Ambrose, because Dean Ambrose does not. It's something he's against heat. Maybe he doesn't like heat on himself because he just always never really seems like he's in peril. And that's my biggest problem with Dean Ambrose. And maybe that's the biggest reason why Vince McMahon hasn't given him a push, a proper push, because in the ring, he doesn't allow himself to get heat. He just doesn't. And it showed in this match. And even though it was a good match, if you like this kind of style and you look at this, look at Dean Ambrose, look at, these are indie guys in the ring, like main event and a SmackDown, just kicking ass and taking names. But as a heel, Owens does his damn thing. Just don't put him in the ring with the Ryback types. I would like to see him against Alberto Del Rio at some point. I mean, that would be awesome. See him in a Roman Reigns would be nice. But just Ryback, no. But Dean Ambrose, yes. But Dean Ambrose, if you're watching, man, you're listening, stop with not getting heat on the heel. Just slow the fuck down. Get beat down some, man. Get beat down some. Take some licks. Be in fucking, distress and peril. Only then will you get that heat, and only then when Vince look at you as an actual main eventer. You see what Cena does? You see why he gets in? Because he gets in trouble. Beat down city the entire match to get that heat. Roman Reigns is getting a push because he gets heat on him. He gets beat down. And Ambrose, you got to fucking realize that that's what you have to do as well. Stop countering every fucking thing. Stop countering. Just go down. And when you're down, stomp your leg. Clap your hands. Raise your arm to get the fucking people to give you that heat. And then, only then, we will see a difference in whether you stay in mid-card hell or always a tease and in these stupid bookings, and actually a mainstay in the title hunt, in the title contention. WrestleMania, like upper card matches in WrestleMania. Number one contenderships. Excellent fucking scripting outside of being a glorified cheerleader for Roman Reigns. And that's my only beef. That's my only beef with Dean Ambrose. This match itself ends in a pseudo DQ. It's like kind of a no contest. They gave the match to Kevin Owens because as Dean Ambrose is setting up for dirty deeds, it's a kick to the gut, just like, setting up for a stunner and all that shit. But it's a kick to the gut, and then there's a double arm DDT. But he's in the way. The ref is behind him, and he kicks him in the gut. But Owens, the heel that he is, plays it as if he got kicked in the nuts. He led the referee to believe that it was a low blow. And it was perfect. It was awesome. And he played it up like he had just got kicked as if Dean Ambrose had steel toes on. He rolls out of the ring and he's trying to catch his breath and all that shit. And Lil Nate just goes, hey, called a match. He called a match in favor of Kevin Owens. Because he sold that gut kick like a nut shot like you wouldn't believe. But then they went to the instant replay and they showed that it was in fact nowhere close to his nuts. And Nate was like, in the face when he's like, hey, that wasn't a low blow. How dare you trick me? But before they can restart the match, Dean Ambrose dropped a pair of suicide dives onto Owens. And I think he clotheslined him, and Owens just runs out into the crowd and escapes with the victory. And that's how this ends. That's how this show ends. A really excellent show. That's 2 straight weeks of Raw and SmackDown. Solid fucking writing. Solid, even more solid fucking performance in the ring. And again, this is a great time for the WWE. This is a great time for WWE fans. We're going to get what we've been asking for a while. Someone pushed to the top outside of the Big Show, Kane, Seth Rollins, John Cena, and Randy Orton. Again, it is put up or shut up time. Ryback, Kevin Owens, Alberto Del Rio, Cesaro, Ziggler. It's put up or shut up. It's a couple of more. Titus O'Neil. There's a couple of more guys. Bray Wyatt. It's put up or shut up. Who's going to get that spot? Who's going to get in those spots? It's fucking wide open. And the Divas division is wide the fuck open. Someone needs to step up. And someone needs to fucking get what they've been dreaming of. That's just that spot. So I'm looking back. I'm pretty excited. And by the way, I'm not encouraging the fact that I'm happy that Seth Rollins is hurt or anyone is injured. Randy Orton, I don't know. I'm not excited about it. I don't ever wish for anyone to get injured. A lot of you sick fucks do. Probably just happy as fuck that Seth Rollins got hurt. And you're a bunch of sick fucks, if that's the case. But what it is an opportunity. It's an opportunity just like football. Someone goes down, next man up. Basketball, somebody goes down, next man up. There's been stars that's been made because of injury. And it's no different than the WWE. Next man up. Who wants this? Who wants to be in that limelight? Who wants that fucking title shot, that title contention? Who wants that main event feud? We got a while now. We got 4 weeks until Cena comes back, and that, once you think about it, it's not that far away. You got Seth Rollins out for quite some time. Randy Orton's he had surgery, and he's promoting a movie. But wow. It's time for everyone to step up. And I'm excited. And that's how I'll end Peter Talks Smackdown. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscription button. If you're listening on SoundCloud, if you're listening on iTunes, if you're listening on Stitcher Radio, and if you're listening on Podbean, I just jumped on Podbean 2 weeks ago. So I'm pretty excited about that. Subscribe and throw me in your favorites. Also, thumbs up and like things. Because again, in the logarithms of all those mediums to listen to this podcast, whether it's Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, the New Day podcast, Peter Talks Smackdown, it's the logarithms say that, hey, this is an actual nice wrestling podcast to listen to. You also can share. Comment. Leave a comment. Send me a comment either on the actual podcast or on YouTube. Or you can also send me a tweet at PJTW Central. Again, that's PJTW Central. That's how you find me on Twitter. And you can share. The most important thing you can do is, if you like this podcast, you like all the Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling content, just share it with your friends. Just post it on whatever whatever Facebook page you're on, or whatever message board you're on, or whatever with your Twitter, with your Facebook, with any and everything. Sharing is caring. Because if you're a wrestling fan, again, if someone likes wrestling, just say, hey man, listen to this guy. This guy's pretty cool, and that will be greatly appreciated. Again, thank you so much for listening to episode, what is this again? 36 of Peter Talks Smackdown. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful evening. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And always watch out for those foreign objects. I'll see you in a bit. Peace.